This is Brandon from Watches on You. Today we're going to be reviewing a very interesting watch. This is the Nomos Reference 807 Zürich Weltzeit Nachtblau World Time. Now let's drop down to the inspection pad and we can take a closer look at this piece. Alright, so let's take a closer look at the Nomos Reference 807. Now, before I start the rest of the review, I'm going to just give a special thanks to JB Hudson Jewelers in Minneapolis, Minnesota for lending us this piece to use. They're an authorized dealer of Nomos and many other brands. If you end up purchasing anything, please remember to tell them we sent you. Alright, so let's get started. So the Nomos World Time is a very, very cool watch. I mean, it plays into the whole Bauhaus design of Nomos with the addition of a complication. So this complication is not one in any of their other pieces. There is a white dial version of this watch, but something kind of to this extent is quite unique to this piece of Nomos. So let's start off with the dial here. Now, the dial comes on this one in this beautiful blue. It looks absolutely fantastic. I mean, I was really glad that they had this one as well as the white one, but I chose to review this one because of that blue. Just looks so great, especially when it's next to that beautiful black cordovan strap. And in case you don't know, cordovan is horse leather. It's got a really unique texture. I mean, it kind of, like, depending on which way you rub it, it feels totally different. It's very interesting. I highly recommend you check that out. But anyway, moving on to the rest of the case. So this watch's case is completely made out of stainless steel. It has a 39.9 millimeter diameter, which for a watch like this is perfect. I mean, I'd say that's a little bit big, but not too big, obviously. I mean, it's just bigger than what some of their other pieces are, and pieces of this style don't tend to be as large, but that's totally fine. I mean, it's a World Time, so the size will be duly compensated by its complications. So let's actually move right on to that World Time complication. Now, to use a World Time, you set the city you want the time in at 12 o'clock. So as you can see, I'll zoom in right here. We are currently on it looks like Karachi, and then you can move over and then select different cities. So Bangkok, Hong Kong, Tokyo, Sydney, Nomea, Auckland, Pago Pago, Honolulu, Alaska, and it just works. You use this little clicker here. Now, there are World Times from other brands around this price point, which is around $5,000, that are actually, sorry, $6,100 for this piece here at JB Hudson, brand new. But they don't tend to have this pusher. They tend to just kind of work using the crown. Sorry about the focus there. And it's just not as highly complicated as this. I mean, they did a really, really good job with this movement. So, speaking of the movement, like most Nomos watches, it is fantastically finished. This is the Calibre 5201 movement. Now, it's partly an in-house movement, so what Nomos does, you'll see it on their website, they say that this movement has their in-house swing system. So what Nomos basically does is they take various parts and then make them themselves, but then they also use some other generic parts in their movements. But as you can see, this movement is not finished at all like a generic movement tends to be. It's beautiful with the Geneva striping and just, I mean, it's just absolutely fantastic. Under the balance wheel, you can see the perlage there. It just looks brilliant in the light. It definitely punches way above its pay grade here. I mean, it's a fantastic watch. So let's move on to the wrist shot here. All right. So, as you can see, this watch, as I said before, is slightly larger than on other Nomoses. It appears as if it appears as if it's a little bit larger than it is. I mean, but it still looks fantastic on the wrist. I mean, I have a slightly above average sized wrist, and it looks brilliant. I mean, for a World Time, I mean, this is one of the most, I'd say this is one of the most beautiful World Times. And one thing that this has going for it that a lot of World Times, much higher end World Times at that, don't have is there's a running seconds in that subdial there, which, to my knowledge, very few Patek Philippe's, if not any, have ever had running seconds features. I mean, it just looks, it's just a brilliant thing, and it's a useful feature, I'd say, that Nomos included there. So I really like that. If you like this video, please remember to subscribe and share. And also, remember we're at JB Hudson Jewelers in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Thanks for watching.